So President Biden says that he's actually proud of the job that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass in California are doing. For real? Watch.
What can be done and how we're going to get it done. So I thank you all very much. I'm proud of the job you're all doing. And I'm, quite frankly, proud of the job the local officials in California are doing. I've spent a lot of time with the governor and the mayor of Los Angeles and others. They're doing everything that we ask of them and beyond. And so we're stepping up as best way we can. Any of my colleagues around.
So Biden says that they're stepping up the best way that they can. But then this leaked memo came out showing Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass demanding her fire department make an extra $49 million of budget cuts the same week as these California fires. Can you believe this lady? Is she another one of those DEI hires? But not only that, guys, they just found out that the California governor, Gavin Newsom, also cut funding for wildfire and forest resilience by more than $100 million just months before the wildfires currently ravaging right through Los Angeles broke out. Oh, and we also need to talk about the latest Joe Rogan episode, okay? So he talked to Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who confirmed that Joe Biden officials screamed and cursed at the Meta executives to take down vaccine posts. Yeah. I remember back then. Some of you guys might remember back then as well. Now, we had to be very careful about how we talked about those vaccines on the channel. That's why we had to set up our Patreon, well, for a number of reasons, including that one, but many different stories like that one that, let's just say, certain platforms didn't want us to talk about. So we opened up our Patreon platform. There's a link down below to get exclusive access to videos, commercial free that, unfortunately we can't post here. But otherwise, if we did, we get our videos banned, or worse, they could have taken down our channel altogether. So yeah, I definitely experienced the censorship firsthand, you guys. More on that a little bit later, so definitely stay tuned. But first, let's talk about what's happening right now in California. So it's really heartbreaking just how many people are losing their lives and their homes in the Golden State. One clip that was particularly devastating for me was this woman in Pacific Palisades who ran up to Governor Gavin Newsom and demanded that she hear a conversation between him and Joe Biden. Then she confronted him about what he plans to do for the area. I mean, just watch it, guys.
It's been home her whole life, but she barely recognizes it.
Apocalypse.
Around every corner, almost complete destruction.
This was a little cooking store thing. This is a parking lot for a center.
Firefighting planes bringing water from the ocean to tackle the blazes still raging in all parts of this city. Growing too is anger at a perceived lack of preparedness by authorities.
We shouldn't be seeing this. We shouldn't. This is where people need to wake up. Because if you're voting and you're picking people for softness, or for the fuzzy feeling you got because they seem like they're good people, I want to know that we're going to have someone in charge.
Then Rachel spots a face she recognizes.
Is that Gavin Newsom? That's the governor. That's the governor. Governor, I live here, governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is being criticised by some for water mismanagement as hydrants ran dry while fires multiplied.
So I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now, and it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
to
everything.
Fill the hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that.
I literally have.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I would. I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I mean, he just straight up lied to her face right there. How many of y'all think he was really on the phone with Joe Biden? Newsom said that he was on the phone and then he said that he had no service. So which is it? Now, at this point, people are calling for the resignation of both Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. They said that the two have blood on their hands for this mishandling of the LA crisis. I mean, just watch this clip of LA Mayor Karen Bass dodging the reporters' questions about using up the city's reserve fund fighting fires. Watch.
The third brother?
David Zahnizer with the Los Angeles Times. I have a two-part budget question. My first part is, can you talk about the reserve fund? Last year, there was a lot of concern that the reserve fund had fallen below 4% and was heading toward that 2.75 number that I think makes it difficult for the city to authorize spending. Do you know how low it has gotten at this point and how quickly you're burning through the reserve?
Do you want to go with your second question too?
Sure.
Go right ahead.
The second question is, do you have any concern about blowing through the reserve before the state and federal money will arrive?
So let me just say that, as I said a few minutes ago, our number one priority right now is to save lives, to protect lives, to save homes. I'm not here to talk about the status of our budget. If you would like to do that on another occasion, that would be fine in terms of the reserve fund. I don't have those concerns right now, and I will say that after our first priority, then we will look back at everything that was done to do an evaluation to see what worked and what didn't work. Thank you.
Thank you. We are over time.
So she's talking about what worked and what didn't work. Well, I can tell you for sure, people don't feel like their leadership is working at the moment. I mean, heck, just look at the comments down below of this video. Everybody's saying that they should resign right now. Democrats, leftists, and rhinos, starting from the very top. President Joe Biden, or as my uncle calls him, O-Biden, to include his shadow president Obama. Now, seriously, guys, Trump's inauguration, it can't come soon enough. Just see what's happening under the current administration. A leaked memo showed how Karen Bass demanded her fire department make an extra $49 million of budget cuts the week of the LA fires. Does that make any sense? Does this lady even have a brain? So the cut is already on top of $17.6 million of cuts in her latest budget. I mean, the memo was dated January 6th. This is literally just days before the fire broke out and devastated huge parts of Los Angeles. Does this lady make more money the more she cuts? Like, how is this working? And you know what? If they had gone through with these additional cuts demanded by Mayor Karen Bass, they would have to have shut down 16 fire stations and cripple the department's ability to respond to emergencies. This crisis with the fires in California will be worse than what we're seeing right now. And now, thank goodness that we got this leaked memo from a whistleblower who calls themselves LAFD Watchdog. Now, according to sources, it was sent from LAFD top brass at City Hall to division chiefs and captains after what was described as a fraught meeting between Chief Kristen Crowley and Mayor Karen Bass. Now, according to the memo, the LAFD is still going through a financial year 2024-2025 $48.8 million budget reduction exercise with the city attorney's office. The only way to provide a cost savings would be to close as many as 16 fire stations, not resources, fire stations. This equates to at least one fire station per city council district. Now, more than 54 square miles are scorched in at least 5 separate fires, more than 4,000 homes and buildings destroyed, 10 dead and more injured. And the billionaire and celebrity inhabited neighborhood of Pacific Palisades was almost completely wiped off the map. So you can imagine the response that this leaked memo got from the public. Senior firefighters weighed in saying that they did not want this out. It's an internal memo not to be distributed. They also explain how they're trying to allocate more money for the homeless and they need to start taking money from everybody. Now, as for the fire department, they're saying that they already exhausted their budget. That's why they cut the fire academy in half so that they could save more money. That's why they're not testing if fire hydrants work anymore. They're doing everything that they can to try and save money. They have fire engines that they can't get parts for. When one breaks down, they strip it out of parts on other fire engines because they just can't afford to buy any more parts. And it gets worse, guys. The firefighters are saying that if you shut down 16 fire stations, that's about 750 personnel, 750 firefighters out of work. Firefighters, guys, that's where they want to save the money at. Really? Then they expect the remaining people to take the same call volume. They said that they're already shy 200 paramedics, and they're on the verge of another 200 quitting because they can't do this anymore. If they don't work overtime, they suspend and threaten to terminate them. The word they used? Untenable. Now, one source says that Karen Bass wanted to cut even more, and when the chief said that they don't have it, the mayor said find it. Chief Crowley had already warned Karen Bass last month that $17.6 million of budget cuts that the mayor successfully steered through a city council vote had severely limited the department's capacity to prepare for, train for, and respond to large-scale emergencies, including wildfires. And so now they're paying the real price of these budget cuts. So much for the savings. They made things even worse. 120-foot flames have destroyed thousands of homes, businesses, schools, and places of worship, causing an estimated $49 billion worth of damage so far in communities from the Pacific Coast all the way to Pasadena. So here's the latest on the size and the containment of the major fires. So the Palisades fire, 23,654 acres burned, 11% contained. The Eaton fire, 14,117 acres burned, 15% contained. Kenneth fire, 1,052 acres burned, 80% contained. Hearst fire, 799 acres burned, 76 contained. And so meanwhile, Karen Bass, who was on a trip to Ghana to attend the West African country's presidential inauguration, has been heavily criticized for the trip. I don't know if she was really there for that, or maybe she was just on vacation and she blamed it on that so it sounded more official and less pleasure. But we all know that California now wants all American taxpayers from all 50 states to chip in and help pay for the stupid mess that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have contributed to. But let me know what you guys think about this. Like, did this leaked memo from Karen Bass get your blood boiling like it did for me? Drop me a quick yes or no in the comments down below. And also, while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to keep getting more updates like these straight to your device. But let's get back to our discussion here. So it's not just Mayor Bass who got caught in a lie, okay? They also found out that despite his saying that he's doing all that he can for the LA Fire Department, California Governor Gavin Newsom actually cut funding for wildfire and forest resilience by more than $100 million just months before the wildfires currently ravaging Los Angeles right now broke out. To be more specific, the governor's 2025 budget signed in June eliminated a whopping $101 million from 7 wildfire and forest resilience programs. This included cutting $5 million from California's Fire Now $129 million budget for fuel reduction teams, including funds used by the state's National Guard for Vegetation Management, work aimed at reducing threats of fires igniting and spreading. That would have been pretty helpful the last week, right? Other related cuts included $28 million from multiple state conservancies to use on wildfire resilience, $12 million for a home hardening pilot program to make homes more resilient to wildfires, $8 million from fire monitoring and research spending, mostly dedicated to California fire and state universities, $4 million from a forest legacy program that encourages landowners to maintain their properties. Now, at least 11 people are dead and thousands of structures have been destroyed. What a tragedy. And to find out that it could have been partly preventable if not for these major budget cuts just kind of breaks your heart, doesn't it? Not to mention, it definitely makes my blood boil just thinking about it. Speaking of, here's another one. Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg saying on Rogan how Joe Biden's officials would scream and curse at their people. For real, guys, check this out.
People from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous.
And if you wanted more proof, here's Senator Josh Hawley's grilling DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas for being the nerve center of federally directed censorship. I'm not making this up, guys. Here, watch.
You are supervising the nerve center of federally directed censorship. Here's another email, August 20th, 2021. Facebook writes again to HHS and highlights that Facebook is increasing the strength of our demotions for COVID and vaccine-related content. April 16th, 2021, Rob Flaherty at the White House circulates a Zoom meeting invitation to Twitter employees stating White House staff will be briefed by Twitter on vaccine misinformation. We have example after example of this administration coordinated, apparently, according to a federal court, by your agency, pressuring, coercing social media companies to engage in censorship. Is that constitutional?
That is unequivocally false.
Is what the emails show.
It is unequivocally false, Senator.
You are not pressuring the big tech companies to take down accounts. You are not meeting with them to ask them to censor on your behalf.
That is correct. We are not.
You're not having any meetings with them whatsoever.
We meet with the tech companies.
How often?
To address the Homeland Security mission.
How often do you meet with them?
For example, online child sexual exploitation is a scourge in this country, and we have an obligation to address it.
You're saying that no one in your office has ever met with, coordinated, or otherwise engaged in any contact with a social media company in which you spoke to them about vaccine mandates, about COVID mask mandates, about the withdrawal from Afghanistan, about the current U.S. involvement in Ukraine. None of that has ever happened.
I don't know what you're referring to, Senator, and I can
read the emails.
And I can tell you this. Well, you've actually cited emails outside of our department, but if
I've cited a federal judge who says your department is engaged in supervising the nerve center of federally directed censorship. Here's my point, Mr. Secretary. It has been established for years in this country, as you very well know because you're a lawyer, that the federal government may not use private third parties to engage in activities that are unconstitutional. That's exactly what you and this administration are doing. You are leveraging private companies to carry out censorship on your behalf. It's dystopian, but worse than that, it's unconstitutional.
So Mark Zuckerberg said the whole thing was brutal. See, he said Joe Biden's aides wanted Meta to remove posts that correctly stated that the vaccines could induce side effects. Zuckerberg said his own company's fact-checking process was something out of 1984, and it led to this broad belief that the fact-checkers his own company employed were too biased. To quote the Meta CEO, basically it just got to a point where they told them, quote, "No, we're not going to take this thing down. That was true," end quote. He even added that Joe Biden's officials even got to a point where they actually asked Meta to take down a meme of Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at a TV with a joke at the expense of the people who were vaccinated. Mark Zuckerberg said his company drew the line at removing humor and satire. Well, the man has definitely been making liberals angry with his recent moves. On the other hand, a lot of people are saying too little too late. But last month, the Facebook founder met with President-elect Donald Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. He also drew a lot of criticism from the left-leaning circles for adding UFC boss Dana White, a very prominent Trump ally, to Meta's board of directors, as well as ending Meta's fact-checking program and killing DEI initiatives at the company. So yeah, the tide is definitely turning, and it's even got big tech companies like Meta changing their ways. Now I'm telling you guys, it's the dawn of a new era, and you got front seats to the whole show right here. So make sure you guys are always subscribed to the channel, have your notification bell turned on, and hey, let me know what you guys think about this one. Drop me a quick comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let's get a conversation going. But more on this and other news on our next videos. Oh, and speaking of, definitely stick around on this video, guys, because I got some suggested videos that are about to pop up right after this one. So as always, thanks so much for watching, and thank you for hitting the like button and subscribing. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.